You mean more larger, more national, or
Yes,
international?
more national. I would hope to become involved in something that could change the way we have consistently done business in these United States.
For instance.
It probably would be something to do with voter, not only voter registration, but voter involvement.
Participation.
And so it would be a program which in a way got started in the last election, the last national election, when more and more people were brought into the system. What I would like to see is everyone having a high interest in national governing so that they became, in every community, that voting was not only a privilege and a right, but something that everyone felt they must do if they were to become an involved citizen and to make a difference in the way we are governed. So that from the time you are eligible to vote, you participated in the system, and not only just by voting, but by working for change and for candidates who would bring that change to the nation. What I want to try to instill in people is that it is such a privilege that you are allowed in this country.
So you want to inspire and motivate them rather than force them.
I've never liked forcing, because I don't think you accomplish the purpose that you want to accomplish living in a democratic country. And that is a major, major project. But I think, and it's only coming through politics that it's being accomplished, and it's a very selfish reason that we're trying to expand our voting base. But I hope that we can, starting with children.
A more egalitarian
Yes.
system.
And that we can start with children, very young children, and we, in our educational process, it's an accepted part of living in this nation that you are proud to vote. That's why immigrants vote. They are so proud to live in this country that immigrants who become citizens, the first thing they want to do is the privilege of being able to vote. In the state of California, if every one of those people you've spoken about would take the opportunity to become citizens,
And then show up at the polls.
This state would be almost Spanish speaking. I mean, it's going to be. We're going to have more Spanish speaking residents in the state of California. I think it's only in about 5 years than we have, and that's why all of our publications are done in both languages and pretty much accepted. It used to be it was kind of an extraordinary in the near future. But you brought that subject up, and Ralph and I are embarking. We haven't gotten it started. We've just had some inquiries. We're going to try to work on some citizenship projects, and our base would be the Oakview area. And we're going to be trying to work with voter registration, citizenship classes, and we're
Good.
now joining forces with our Ultimate Community Clinic.
Good. Humanity has just passed 7 billion people. Just a few days ago, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's pretend for a moment that all 7 billion of us are going to watch this video. What would you say to us?
Be involved. Very simply. Understand that you live in a great nation. It's only great if you're involved and a part of it. And by standing aside, you're going to live very mundane, ordinary lives when you could lead great lives. And involve yourself in every aspect of your community, of your state, and of your nation. And by doing that, I think we're going to have a better world, because we are going to continue to be the leaders of the world, and that leadership has got to be at the highest level. And we've got to elect people that will carry that philosophy forward.
If I could give you any superpower, one that you've heard of or one that you make up on the spot, which one would you request?
that's a big question.
I try to ask big questions.
Superpower. Um, well, and I know it's a very simplistic answer, but if we could all be decent human beings, if we could all treat one another exactly like we wish to be treated, and if everyone could have educational opportunities which create this type of individual, I think we'd be taking a step in becoming a better world. And I think my philosophy is, and not shared by everyone, is we're all put on earth to do something. And we can either waste it or we can do something. And that's what we're here to become better human beings and to help one another and to achieve something. And at the end of the day, when that day comes, if you look back on your life, and you can look back on a life that has been well used and has achieved something, then you should rest peacefully.
What is your favorite movie?
Let's see, what is my favorite movie? That was easy for Ralph. He sees 100 of them.
He gave me 2.
Let me see, what is my favorite movie? Boy, you're asking me to go back and... Well, it wasn't a movie, but it was just a recent HBO production. I just saw it in the paper this morning. A Band of Brothers.
The World War II miniseries.
Yes, it struck a humanity in me of seeing... I've always felt the greatest equalizers of people are military involvement, jury duty, and athletics. To me, they level people out better than anything I can think of. And the Band of Brothers, although I'm certainly not a proponent of war, but showed how these men went through a horrible experience, but how most of them came out as better human beings at the end of it because of the relationships they had with one another. And I liked Forrest Gump.
Why? You're the third person who's told me Forrest Gump. So
I like Forrest Gump because he was an ordinary guy who did extraordinary things. And whether it's true or not, it just showed that...
Yeah, it's not even very realistically true.
No, but it was like people can achieve things. Everybody can achieve something.
Even a guy who's got an IQ of 85.
Yeah, and it just kind of gave you a sense of hope. I don't know. Maybe it was because one of those movies you could sit back and just relax. It wasn't always, drumming at you. I'm more of a moviegoer for. It doesn't always have to. It doesn't have to have always a message. It's something that I go from my world into someone else's
For an
world.
escape.
Yeah, and it might as well be pleasant. Oh.
I'm
Forrest Gump's mother.
Okay.
I can relate more to a kid who, and her courage in seeing the best in her child.
Even though the people around her weren't seeing that same best.
That's right. She saw it, and that was the motivation.
We should all have a mother more like you.
Oh, yeah.
Who are your heroes?
Oh, let me think, because I want to do this carefully. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Why?
She was a woman before her time. She was a woman that had, I think, some private hardships in her life, but pushed them aside and went on to being a great woman, and a woman who was kind of the leading force that brought legal and voters women into the world of politics. I've always...
Was she one of the founders of it?
No, I don't think so.
It's older than her.
Yeah. She was in a world that could have put her on the back burner. She could have been. She had a lot of children. She could have just been, his wife. But she chose to be independent in a time.
Those before her and after her chose to just be his wife.
Yeah, it was a very difficult time. And another person that I admire greatly, I hope this admiration can continue, is Barack Obama and his wife.
I see you have a letter here from him and Vice President Biden.
Yeah, I went to the inauguration, and that was the official invitation. And I took my daughter, my oldest daughter, who had become also involved in the political world and was just kind of beginning to do things in her community. So when I just decided early on in the campaign that if he were elected, I wanted to go back and be a part of that. I admire him because I think he puts principles first. I think people will criticize him for trying to get along with Congress. I see it as a plus. I see a man who...
He's the only grown-up in the room.
Yeah, I see a man who is being battered by a group that wants to say no to some very good ideas, who don't want him to achieve anything, who want him to fail, and he still comes out with that fighting spirit that says certain things need to be done in this country, and I'm going to do what I can to achieve those, and I hope this respect continues. Sometimes some of our leaders will fail us, and the most interesting thing when you go on nonprofit boards is how everyone wants everything to be done for free because we're a nonprofit. But what they don't understand is to do these things takes a financial base, and so you are, in a way, as you just said, you are in a way a part of that corporate structure because you're going to have to raise the funds to be what you should be, giving the services that you say you'll provide. And so you learn that pretty early. If you don't learn it, then the organization falls apart because it can't sustain itself. And whether you like it or not, money does provide.
Makes the world go round.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything that we've neglected to discuss that you think bears mentioning at this point?
I don't know if it bears mentioning, but my experience on the Coastal Commission
Please.
was a wonderful experience. It was I was appointed by the senator. He was then Senator Lockyer, who was Senate Pro Tem of the state Senate in California, and I had worked a long time in the environmental world, and it was very important to me, and I know how important the Coastal Commission is to making decisions on protecting our coast, one of the most valuable resources the state of California has. And so it was an opportunity to use all of that knowledge that I had been working within for the past 30 years, and to see what it was like to be at a state level. I had worked at one time for a state assembly member, a 2-year wonderful experience, but being on this commission where we made very important decisions. You were always making a decision based on an environmental need, based on a business that might not be able to survive with your decision. And so they were very weighty matters, but very important matters, and I got to see the entire coast of California and realize, which I did before going in, how important it was to the economy of the state. So that was one of the rewards. When I said become involved, you don't know where that involvement is going to lead. And in my case, it led to this appointment and gave me wonderful opportunities.
Thank you very much for consenting to this interview. You've been very gracious with your time and your energy. I wish you only good luck and that God should bless your ongoing efforts.
All right. I enjoyed it.